Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Chad here with another In the OT podcast for BetHubSportsBlog.com. Today we're breaking down the PGA Championship that has just come to a conclusion, and Rory McIlroy absolutely steamrolled the field, having another record-setting major victory, the second of his career for the young 23-year-old, regaining the number one world ranking, something that he is beyond deserving of right now. I've ripped the world golf ranking system in the past, and I'll briefly mention that right now, that it's been an absolute travesty and a joke that someone like Luke Donald was ever considered better than him. This guy hasn't even had a sniff at a major, yet McIlroy has won two now and possibly could have even won his third, what would have been his first and three overall with the Masters last year. And, that breakdown that he had there on that Sunday may have been a blessing in disguise to give him the confidence to move forward. I mean, it's not even a question that this guy has absolutely world-class talent. His swing is nothing short of phenomenal. The tempo is fantastic. The rhythm, the way he just drives through the ball, he hits it a country mile. His short game is improving. He has a lot of confidence. He's got that swagger. You could even see it in the second round when he had that tough stretch when he bogeyed, I believe it was 3 or 4 in a row. I remember there was one putt he had about a 20-footer and he left it about 10 feet short. He slammed his hand on his thigh and he just completely regrouped, made a couple of birdies coming in and got himself back into the mix. And it just is really fantastic to see this young kid develop in front of our own eyes. He's only 23 years old. And I knew when I'd heard about him when I was younger, okay, we've heard all the song and the dances about the Sergio Garcias and the Adam Scotts and all these guys that were supposed to be great, even a Ty Tryon. And a lot of times with that pressure, these guys never amount to it. They never even win a major, let alone potentially go on to be one of the greatest of all time, which is what I do believe McIlroy will end up doing. So it's great to see him fulfill that. You could see it coming that time when he shot that 64 in the final round at Quail Hollow a couple years ago to win his first golf tournament in the United States. So just a world-class player. I love the way he carries himself. I'm a huge McIlroy fan. And it ends a very interesting streak that had gone on. I believe it was 16 consecutive majors without having someone win twice. Well, that comes to an end because McIlroy has done that. And he's got two right now. This kid is just going to continue to rack them up. I say he finishes with somewhere like 6, 7, 8, maybe even double digits. I'm not going to go that far just because it's so difficult in today's modern era of golf to rack them up because the competition level is just so stiff. But when you look at what he's done in his two major victories, including last year Congressional, the U.S. Open, he's won by a combined 15 strokes. There's only been one person in recent memory to be able to just absolutely pump the field, and that is Tiger Woods, and that is the greatest golfer of all time. I don't care that Jack has more majors. The fact of the matter is Tiger won his in an era where there were far superior talent around him. Anybody could have won. Back in Jack's day, there was only 10, 11, 12 guys that legitimately had a chance to win a major. So to see McIlroy display some of that greatness is phenomenal for the sport of golf because, when Tiger went down and out with all of his transgressions, as he calls them, off the course, many people were starving to have someone sort of come in and potentially replace him as sort of the face for the sport. And I think we can all agree that McIlroy is that person right now. And, you just look at him. When he is playing at the top of his game, there's not a chance anybody could beat him right now in this world. Even if Tiger's playing at his best, I don't think he can come close to what McIlroy does. And I'm almost lost for words because it really is amazing to see what he is doing on this golf course. You just knew today when he had that 3-stroke lead going in, this was no Adam Scott little pump fake, never been there. He's in his 30s and, hadn't really lived up to the expectations and started missing 3-footers down the stretch at the British Open playing protective. He went after it. He went and shot 67. He wanted so badly to drain that putt on the final hole to have the record at the PGA, even though it was like a 30-footer from off the green. So you can just sort of see that desire from McIlroy. And I think it's nothing short of phenomenal, and I congratulate him, and I can't wait to see this kid's career play out. 23 years old to play at this level. Moving forward, this guy is by far and should be the number one ranked golfer in the world and should be favored at every single major moving forward, unless for some reason Tiger can get his acting gear on the weekends and get back on track, because I really thought this was going to be a week that Tiger Woods was going to win, and he just, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to get it done on the weekend. I don't think he's playing terrible per se. He's just not playing great. He's just not making enough birdies, and I don't know, the putting seems like it lost him a little bit this weekend. And it just wasn't enough. I mean, even if he played great, there's no way he would have beaten McIlroy, but you figured that maybe he would have finished 6, 7, 8 under par instead of going backwards into the middle of the pack. So we'll leave it at that. I can't stand, focusing that much attention on Tiger when the spotlight should be on Rory, which I've spent the majority of the time during this podcast discussing. So that's pretty much it. The golf season has almost come to an end. The 4 majors are now in the books. A little bit of good golf still remaining. You got that... what's it called thing there, the playoffs for the FedEx thing where that winner takes home $10 million, some intriguing events like the BMW Open, the Deutsche Bank, and then the Tour Championship, and then the Ryder Cup should be very fascinating at the end of September. Now 7 out of the top 10 players in the world are from Europe, and you now see McIlroy obviously number 1, and boy, would that be something if they allowed McIlroy to play Tiger in like a final singles match there, and it was like coming down to that. Whew, would that be great for ratings and just the overall intrigue of the sport. But we'll leave the golf discussion at that. Once again, Chad here in the OT podcast, betupsportsblog.com.